experience is the experiment.
What's going on, everybody? I haven't done a solo episode or recap or whatever you want to call this in a long time. So I figured let's bring it back, at least every once in a while. We're almost over 120 episodes in as far as guest conversations. I've done countless live performances with experiment sessions. I've been doing this for over 2 years now. And I thought I would just get on here and talk for a little bit. Such a weird time in the world. And obviously, it affects me and the people I love. But I don't want to talk about that on here right now. I'm talking about that with my friends, with my family, and my community, but I feel like I need a second to step away from that for a moment and allow my head to clear. Because sometimes when all you have surrounding you is turmoil and war and tragedy, then it gets really easy to fall into this place of, I want to say depression, but I don't know if that's the right word. I don't know what the word would be when you're surrounded and everything you see makes you sad. And you seem to be surrounded by content that is just heartbreaking. I don't know what the word would be, but I needed a moment to step away from it. And I think that's why I'm doing this. So I thought I would just come on here and talk and kind of explain maybe some of my highlights from the past couple of years on this show, some of the things I've struggled with, and kind of what's going on in my life right now. So being 120 guest episodes in and however many experiment sessions and other little solo episodes like this, I feel like I finally had the chance recently to take a second and think about how far this has come. I don't know if you've been watching for a long time or if you watch often, but this started as something that wasn't really a dream. During COVID, I had all my friends who I was so used to seeing often and working with, and I had a beautiful life as a music producer, and everything shut down as it did for everybody. And I lost the ability to see those friends, and I lost a lot of my clients, which ended up being my music production career at that point. And out of that pressure came this, which has become one of, if not the most important thing I've ever done with my life. And I think that this has taught me a pretty big lesson, which is change is inevitable, change is necessary, and you have to listen to it. I made myself a promise when I was 3 and 5 and 10 and 15 that I would be some famous drummer and some famous rock star and tour the world. And I think for so long I stuck to making this 7-year-old, 15-year-old self happy by following a dream that no longer fit who I was. I went through the industry. I met amazing people. I met terrible people. I had highs that I will remember for the rest of my life, and I had lows that I will have nightmares about for the rest of my life. And with all these experiences, I learned more and more about myself, which at the end of the day is that I am a person who is madly in love with music, that I'm a person who is madly in love with this community and what it takes to get good at this craft. And I think for so long I expected that I would be the person that everybody watched on stage. And I never expected I'd be the person that some people watch on camera. And I found that the best thing I've ever done for myself was put the dream of the 7-year-old to the side for a moment and asked myself what I really want to do right now. And what I wanted to do was find a way to help this community as much as it's helped me. And what I wanted to do was find a way to give people a platform to not only share their music and how they do things and what got them here, but to share who they are at the moment. Because I think this industry has such a crazy speed where you're expected to create, release, promote, and all at the same time people want whatever's next. And I don't think that gives artists, producers, songwriters the chance to actually show who they really are at that moment. Because you forget, most of these artists who are releasing, by the time you hear the music, that is an older version of who they are. They are somebody new. They've had new life experiences. They've had new traumas. They've made new friends. They've lost old friends. So much has changed by the time you get to put your headphones in and go lay in your bed and listen to the new Drake track or whoever it is. And I wanted to give them the opportunity to explain who they are at this moment. And that's going to change. And every time they come on here, they're a new person and a new version of them. And that's kind of my favorite part, is you get to see this progression of human beings who are giving their life to them, to a goal and to a dream, and what it takes to make this happen. I'm not talking about the podcast. I'm talking about this industry. What it takes to make it in this industry is a sheer will to never give up. And I now understand how hard that is. The amount of nights I've had where I didn't know if I was going to have enough money to either fill my car up and go to work or to eat. If I was going to have the money to go meet my friends for lunch like I promised them, or if I was going to have to make something up because I just can't afford the restaurant they want to go to. And that is such a small fraction of what it takes to make it in this industry, but that is part of this, is understanding that this is a long-term goal. This is a long game that you have to play in order to get to where you want to go. And that game doesn't mean just making contacts and signing deals and this and that. No, that comes with understanding where you're at every day and appreciating where you're at and understanding where you are once you make it and appreciating what it took to get there so you don't forget. And I feel like the more episodes I do of this, the more producers and songwriters and artists and bands and musicians that I get to meet, the more that idea is pounded into my head of what this really takes to make this life a reality. And if this is something that you want to do and you want to be in the shoes of so many of these people that I've been so lucky enough to even sit next to, you have to make a promise to yourself, not that you will follow the goal you made when you were 7, if that no longer suits you, but that you will follow whatever you need to be doing for yourself at that moment. I think, and somebody, I can't remember who it was, said this on the podcast prior, the job of an artist is not to make music, it's to find inspiration in the world and then find a way to convey that to the people out there. And I think that's so true, because I think there's so many times when we sit at our desk and we sit behind our DAW or behind our microphone trying to come up with ideas and reasons we deserve it and the next hit. And so many times that comes at the expense of going out and seeing the world and taking in all the opportunities and emotions and feelings and imagery that we can, to then go into that booth and not have to think. And I'm not saying it's always like that, and I'm not saying it's the same for everybody, because I really do think that everybody who comes into this industry has their own version of it. But from my experience and getting to sit with all these people, the thing that I've noticed the most is that every single one of them are still trying to be the best that they can that day. Every single one of them is struggling with their own bullshit and has their same life that is there no matter what, dragging them on or pushing them forward. And you have to find a way to adapt and to stay inspired in all these situations. And the best way to do that is to go find activities and things that make you happy and allow you to see the world. And that can be anything. Everybody's got their own thing. For me, this is going to the mountains every weekend. Whether I like it or not, I need to go out there in order to keep my sanity. It's like working out. I know when I work out in the morning, my day is better 100% of the time. Unless I hurt myself, my day is better. I can get through my day without being irritable. I smile more. I appreciate the little things. It's this workout of the mind as well as the body. And my other workout is going out into the world. If that's the mountains, or going to the Getty Center and looking at art and people watching, or going on a hike, or going and spending time with my friends or my girlfriend or my dog, taking my dog to the park. It's just, there's so many things that I know help, that I've done so much trial and error to get to where I am, that I know those help. And if I don't do those, and I find myself in a situation where I feel uninspired or sad, or like I can't make this anymore, then that is my fault for not using the skills that I learned help me the most when they're sitting right there in front of my face. And I think everybody has their version of that. And I'm not saying you have to go to the mountains or you have to go do any of the things that I do, because maybe that won't work for you. Maybe it's sitting there and painting. Maybe it's going out and playing a game night with your friends. I don't know. It doesn't really fucking matter, as long as you have something that keeps you inspired without feeling like you have to be behind a guitar or your desk or a microphone in order to make that happen. And it's one of those things where preparation, practice meet in order to create the perfect moment. And that perfect moment doesn't mean that you sat there writing for hours. Doesn't necessarily mean that. That perfect moment means that you did everything you could that you know helps you get to where you're going. You practice your art, practice your instrument, you practice your singing. You took care of your voice that week. You went and got inspiration and made sure that a few days a week you went out. Even if you couldn't afford the food, you went and you walked around with your friends. It means you're doing all the things that you know make you the best version of you. And from there, of course, you're going to have the best opportunity to succeed, because you did all of the things that you know help you. I think if there's anything that I could share from getting to meet this many incredible people and having them in my home and in my space and in my studio, is that every one of them wants it badly enough that they're willing to do whatever it takes. And just about everyone I've met learned that that process is not just in their music life, but their personal life and their career as a human being, and going out and finding this inspiration. And if you're not doing all of the steps, you're eventually going to start seeing one of them lag, and then the next one, and then the next one, the next one. It's like you might be able to drive your car 50,000 miles without getting an oil change, but once you hit 51,000 miles, that thing might break down, and maybe there is no going back because you didn't find sustainability. You didn't keep your vehicle moving properly on the way. And that is finding inspiration and being healthy. And if you know that working out in the morning and eating healthy and going outside first thing and not sleeping and doing all these things helps, then why aren't you doing it? And this is me speaking out of context a little bit, because there's days where I don't do it. And I go to bed wondering what I did wrong. And that's such a bullshit thought because I know what I did wrong. I didn't do the things that I've already agreed with myself help me be the best person I can. And that helps me be a better boyfriend and a better brother and a better son and a better friend and a better musician, better producer and a better podcaster. So if I'm not doing those and I have a rough day, the only person I can blame is myself. And this is something that I'm really trying to get better at. And for me, I'm so visual. So if I make myself a list that I can go look at, there's a lot better chance that I'm going to make it happen. So I'm trying to do that. And I'm trying to find these little skills that help me become a better version of who I am, hopefully at least. And with all of the uncertainty in this world right now, the only thing we can do for ourselves is the best we can. And if you're lying, telling yourself that you're doing the best you can, but you know you're not, you don't have to feel bad about it. You don't have to be mad about it. You just got to change it. I don't know. I think I'm so lucky to be where I am. And I also know the kind of work I put in to get here. And I know that I'm not anywhere close to where I want to be, but I know I'm on the way and I'm really doing my best to enjoy that because one day I'll get there. And I don't know if it'll mean as much if I don't remember how important the time getting there was. So this is me trying to remember how amazing this is and remind myself why I do this and why I work so hard to make sure an episode goes out every Wednesday. Yeah. And also shout out to Griffin. I don't know if you're watching this, but you've been such a huge help and helped me expand this into something that I've really always dreamed it would be. And just know that I'm very appreciative. And if anybody doesn't know what I'm talking about, that's okay. He does. Thank you guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. If you're still listening, then just know that I love you very, very, very much. And I appreciate all of the support because this really does make me the happiest I can be. And I promise to keep putting in the work to make myself the best I can, to show up here and do the best job I can. And I'm going to continue to do that. I'm going to continue to love this and grow this. And I have so many more big ideas that are coming and you guys will see very shortly. But until then, I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I hope you're healthy, safe, happy, and I hope we can just find a little bit more peace in this world. I love you guys. Thank you. And I'll see you next time.
The experience is the experiment.